Hello everyone, and welcome back to Turkish series stars. Today's story is one of the most emotional moments the Turkish show world has witnessed in recent years, a tale stitched with truth, courage, and a love steady enough to weather any storm. It's about Barış Arduç, a beloved actor whose smile and composure have charmed millions, finally opening his heart to the world, and about Elsen Sangu, the partner who has stood beside him with patience, grace, and unwavering devotion through every squall. For years, audiences followed Barış's rise with admiration. From one hit project to another, he became the face of charismatic heroes and gentle rebels, a star who made fame look easy. But the man behind the camera lens carried a private weight. Beyond premieres and flashing bulbs, beyond fan meetings and endless schedules, there was a quieter story. People saw glamour, applause, and tidy endings. What they didn't see was the hidden ache, the fear, and the pressure he carried offstage. Everything shifted the night he sat down on a wildly popular talk show, a program known for laughter, easy banter, and quick wit. The episode sailed along with teasing questions and light jokes, until a single, simple prompt changed the air in the room. The host smiled and asked, "Barış, you've always kept your private life locked away. Why hide it for so long?" For a moment, silence took up every corner of the studio. People braced for a playful comeback, "He's so good at those." But this time, there was no quick smile. He looked down, drew a careful breath, and in a voice gentle but steady, said, "Because I wasn't ready to face my truth. But I can't stay silent anymore." The atmosphere shifted in an instant. His voice trembled only slightly, but his eyes shone with sincerity, and the honesty in them reached every seat. "I've been afraid my whole life," he continued. "Afraid of judgment, afraid of losing what I've worked for. But the truth has a way of finding air, and I want to breathe freely now." Nobody moved. Some people were shocked, others blinked away unexpected tears. It didn't feel like a routine celebrity confession. It felt like the turning of a page. Within minutes, the moment was everywhere, replayed, clipped, and shared across feeds and timelines. Support poured in with a force rarely seen, and comments brimmed with warmth and courage. As millions reacted, one person's feelings cut straight through the noise, Elsen Sangu. She had carried the map of these fears for years. She had been the calm in sleepless nights, the steady hand when storms hit. She was the one who whispered that love means staying, even when the world wobbles. When Barış returned home that night, uncertain how the world would greet him in the morning, Elsen opened the door with a quiet smile and whispered, "I told you. Honesty is your real strength." Her faith, more than anything, became the pulse of what came next. By morning, the country was still buzzing. News sites ran headlines, clips trended. And then came the message that melted even the most skeptical hearts. Elsen posted a note that read like a vow, "The man I love is the bravest soul I know. Truth doesn't diminish love, it makes it endure." Those words moved through the internet like a tide, gathering millions of shares, captions, and stitches. People began calling them the most genuine couple in Turkey, inspired by how their bond not only survived pressure, gossip, and fear, but grew stronger beneath it. Later interviews filled in the spaces between the viral moments. Barış spoke softly about how vital her support had been. Without her, he admitted, he might never have found the courage to speak. She had given him strength when he felt hollow, and reminded him that real love isn't performance or perfection, it is a daily choice to accept, to stay, and to see. The industry, often accused of coldness, surprised everyone. Actors, directors, and even sharp-tongued critics sent messages and comments. Many praised his bravery. Some said his candidness could shift the culture, reshaping how public figures share their private battles. His revelation stopped being only about one man. It became a light for anyone who hides their pain under an easy grin. And through all of it, there was Elsen, present, calm, and grounded. At their first public appearance after the broadcast, cameras captured a moment that needed no caption. They stepped onto the red carpet side by side, hands linked. The lights flared, the crowd surged, but the bubble around them held. He squeezed her fingers. She turned to him and said, "You are my home." In minutes, those 4 words were everywhere, turning a simple premiere into a new emblem of strength and devotion. Gossip pages tried to twist the story, as they always do, hinting at old drama, nudging at doubts, hunting for fractures that weren't there. But both of them moved past the chatter like wind through a curtain. In one interview, asked whether they felt the need to prove anything, Elsen answered with a small smile, "We don't need to prove our love. We just need to live it." That sentence settled the matter for many. Not a performance, not a press tour, just 2 people building a life. As the weeks went by, the public saw something shift. Barış was no longer packaged as only a matinee idol or a leading man who sometimes sang for special projects. He started to speak openly about mental health and the cost of silence. He met with advocacy groups, hosted roundtables, and urged people in the industry, where so much is polished and hidden, to give their truth some daylight. "If my story makes even one person feel less alone," he said in one interview, "then it's worth everything I've lived." Fans responded to this new chapter with a tenderness that surprised him. They didn't ask for flawless endings anymore. They wanted the man behind the curtain. The one who stumbled, the one who healed. And something changed on stage as well. His performances deepened. The pauses carried weight. The laughter had layers. When he sang, you could hear a heartbeat in every measure, a kind of lived-in resonance that only honesty can carve. At a concert filled with longtime fans, a moment arrived that people still talk about. The spotlight wandered, blue and soft. In the front row, Elsen watched with quiet pride. He looked down, found her eyes, and let a slow smile cross his face. "Every song I sing tonight is for her," he said, "for the woman who helped me find myself." The room thinned into hush. He sang as if the words were stitched to his ribs, and by the end of the set, more than a few faces were wet with tears. Elsen brushed at her own and applauded, not as a star, but as someone who knew exactly who stood before her, not a brand, not a headline, but the soul that had earned every second of this light. Today, their story keeps moving like a current, steady and sure. They are seen together at grand events, yes, but you'll also catch them in the quieter frames, strolling with hands interlaced, sharing coffee on a windy morning, or laughing at a private joke just out of earshot. They have shown that real love isn't built on perfect images or spotless reputations. It is made from truth told aloud, from acceptance offered without conditions, from standing shoulder to shoulder when life demands more than you thought you had. What he shared on that talk show startled many at first, but it also reminded everyone of something simple and powerfully human. Truth can be heavy. Truth can be risky. But truth frees you. And when love chooses to stand beside that truth, no rumor, no headline, and no storm can pull it apart. There are still days when the old fears knock at the door. He says so himself, he's human. But now, instead of turning away, he opens the door and invites them to sit. He breathes. He calls a friend. He speaks to people who understand. He walks, quietly, with the woman who knows his rhythms, and in those steps the worry loses its edge. She doesn't need grand speeches. Sometimes she only squeezes his hand. Sometimes she hands him a note she wrote in the car. Sometimes she says nothing at all. And the world, watching from every angle, learns a little. Fans start using different words with each other online. They swap advice and numbers for helplines. They tell their own stories, sometimes for the first time. They remind each other that it's okay to be messy, to be unsure, to reach out. A confession on a stage became a small revolution in living rooms, school corridors, and quiet kitchens where people keep their secrets close. If you look closely, you can see how this has shaped his work. The characters he plays now carry tenderness alongside strength, and his choices behind the camera ring with the same integrity. He has turned down projects that mask pain with glitter, and chosen scripts that let people breathe, stories with jagged edges and honest endings. The man who once feared that truth would cost him the career he built has discovered the opposite. Authenticity has made the work more alive. The red carpet moment still echoes, her voice, the words you could print on a door, "You are my home." That line has taken on a life of its own. People whisper it to their partners at midnight. It shows up on handmade signs at fan events. It appears as a caption under photos of everyday happiness. And each time, you can trace it back to two people who decided to lead with the unpolished, the unguarded, the unafraid. There is a quiet lesson in the way they face the thrum of speculation. They don't argue with it. They don't feed it. They let it exhaust itself while they live. He meets with young actors and tells them the same thing he tells himself: you don't owe the world a performance of perfection. You owe yourself a life that you can stand inside without flinching. He repeats it until it sounds like a prayer. And when the lights go down at home, when the city softens, there is room for ordinary joy. Cooking done side by side. Music drifting from a speaker. A stray cat at the window. The laughter that needs no audience. This is the texture of their days, the proof that love is strongest in the moments that never go viral. Friends, that is the tender arc of this chapter in the lives of Barış Arduç and Elsen Sangu, a story about meeting fear head-on, welcoming truth like a long-missing guest, and loving without boundaries. If you, too, believe that real love means standing together no matter what storms break overhead, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Turkish series stars. Stay with us, and remember, sometimes the bravest thing a person can do is simply to be honest, and to let love stand beside that honesty, unshaken.